It's 2 a.m. You're lying in bed, eyes open. Your mind is racing. Work deadline. That conversation you had 3 days ago. The email you forgot to send. Your bank account. Your relationship. Your health. Your career. Your future. You can't even identify which problem is keeping you awake. It's just everything. But you tell yourself, I'll deal with it tomorrow. Except tomorrow comes, and you don't deal with it. You scroll, you work, you distract yourself, you push through. And the next night, same thing. 2 a.m., eyes open, mind racing. Because here's what you don't realize. You're not anxious because of one problem. You're anxious because of the mountain of unresolved problems buried in your mind. And that mountain? It's been building for years. Every time you push through instead of processing, every time you scrolled instead of sitting with it, every time you said I'll deal with it later, and then never did. Therefore, the anxiety you feel isn't one thing you can solve. It's 100 things, 1,000 things, all piled up, all unresolved. And the worst part? You can't even see most of them anymore. All you see is the tip of the iceberg, that vague, pervasive feeling that something is wrong, but you don't know what. You don't know why. That's anxiety. And if you don't understand what's actually happening in your mind, you'll spend the rest of your life fighting a battle you can't win. So let me show you what most people never figure out about anxiety, about stress, about time, and about why you're wasting most of your life without even realizing it. First, let's talk about stress. Because stress and anxiety are related, but they're not the same thing. Stress is when you have two conflicting desires at the same time. Think about an iron beam. When an iron beam is under stress, it's because it's being bent in two different directions at once. Your mind works the same way. You want to be liked, but you want to do something selfish. You can't reconcile the two. Stress. You want to do something for yourself, but you want to do something for somebody else. Stress. You don't want to go to work, but you want to make money. Stress. Two conflicting desires, and you can't resolve them. Therefore, one of the ways to get through stress is to acknowledge it. Oh, I actually have two conflicting desires. Then, you either pick one and be okay losing the other, or you decide later. But at least being aware of why you're stressed can alleviate a lot of it. That's stress. Clean, identifiable, resolvable. But anxiety is different. Anxiety is pervasive, unidentifiable stress. You're stressed out all the time, and you're not even sure why.
You can't identify the underlying problem because there's not one problem. There are so many unresolved problems that have piled up in your life that you can no longer identify what they are. There's this mountain of garbage in your mind, and only a little bit of it is poking out the top, like an iceberg. That's what you feel. That's the anxiety. But underneath, there's a lot of unresolved things. So every time you're anxious, you need to ask, why am I anxious this time? I don't know why. Then sit there, think about it. Write down the possible causes, meditate on it, journal, talk to a therapist, talk to your friends. See when that stress goes away. Because if you can identify and unravel and resolve these issues, that helps get rid of anxiety. A lot of the anxiety is piled up because we move through life too quickly, not observing our own reactions to things. We don't resolve them. You reflect on the problems to observe them and solve them, not to indulge them, not to feel better about yourself. Because if you're just reflecting to feel better, you're strengthening your ego. You're creating a more fragile personality. But one anxiety resolver works better than anything else: ruminating on death. You're going to die. It's all going to zero. You cannot take anything with you. I know this is trite. I know we don't spend enough time thinking about the big questions. We give up on them when we're very young. A little child asks, "Why are we here? What's the meaning of life? What is this all about?" But as adults, we're taught not to think about these things, or we've given up on them. But the big questions are big for good reasons. And if you can keep the idea in front of you at all times that you're going to die and that everything goes literally to zero, what's there to stress about? For better or worse, life is very short, but it's even briefer than that. Each moment just disappears. It's gone. There's only a present moment, and it's gone instantly. Therefore, if you're not there for it, if you're stressed out or you're anxious or you're thinking about something else, you missed it. You're dead to that moment. You might as well be dead, because your mind is off doing something else, living in some imagined reality that is just a very poor substitute for the actual reality. So here's the realization that changed everything for me.
What is wasted time? I don't like to waste time, but what is wasted time? Everything is wasted time in a sense, because nothing matters in the ultimate. But in each moment, the thing matters. In each moment, it's the only thing that matters. What's happening in front of you literally has all the meaning in the world. Therefore, what matters is just being present for the thing. If you're doing something you want to do and you're fully there for it, then it's not wasted time. But if you don't want to do it and your mind is running away from it and you're reacting against it and you're wishing you were somewhere else, thinking about some other thing, anticipating some future thing, regretting some past thing, being fearful of something, that's wasted time. That's time that's being wasted when you're not actually present for the reality in front of you. So my definition of wasted time, it's time when you are not present, when you are not there for it, when you're not doing the thing you want to do to the best of your capability, such that you're immersed in it. If you're not immersed in this moment, you're wasting your time. People get worried about dying and no longer being here, but they don't realize that so much of their life is spent not being here in any case. And people crave being here for it, because when you're here for it, you're not thinking about yourself. You're immersed in the thing, the moment, the task at hand. But here's the problem. We don't want peace of mind. We want peace from our mind. The mind is what can eat you alive if you let it. And there's more to you than the mind. Everything arises within your consciousness. You've got nowhere else to experience it. And that consciousness is relatively static. It's been exactly the same from the moment you were born to the moment you die. Everything you experience, from your body, from your mind, to the world, to everything, is within that consciousness. And that thing, that base layer of being, this is what the Buddhists will tell you, is the real thing. Everything that comes and goes in the middle, including your mind, including your body, is unreal. And trying to find stability in those transient things, that's your castle built on sand. It's going to crumble. Life is going to play out the way it's going to play out. There will be some good and some bad, but most of it is actually just up to your interpretation. You're born. You have a set of sensory experiences. Then you die. How you choose to interpret those experiences is up to you, and different people interpret them in different ways. Two people walking down the street, they're having the exact same experience. One is happy, one is sad. It's the narrative in their heads. It's how they choose to interpret. Therefore, these days, I think it's better just not to have any interpretations. Just allow things to be. You're still going to have interpretations. You can't stop it, nor should you try. But even that, having an interpretation, is just a thing you can leave alone. So how do you remind yourself that you should value your time, that it's brief, that the time you spend ruminating, being distracted, fearing the past, regretting, how do you stop wasting it? I don't want to tell anybody how to live their life, but if you want to improve your quality of life, the easiest and best way to do that is to observe your own mind and your own thoughts. Be observant of yourself more objectively. Then you'll realize your own loops and patterns.
It takes time. It's not overnight. It's not instantaneous. Letting go is not a one-time event. And letting go is not necessarily even the right answer. If you're trying to be an enlightened being, sure, live like a god, be a Buddha, let go. But in practice, it's actually quite hard to do. I think you're going to find a lot of fulfillment out of life by just doing what you want to do, genuinely exploring what it is that you want, rather than doing what other people expect you to do, or what society expects you to do, or what you might just think should be done by default. Most older, successful people will tell you their life was best when they lived it unapologetically on their own terms. Be selfish, holistically selfish. And here's another thing people get wrong. How much should you trust the voice in your head? Half of wisdom suggests relying on your bottom-up intuition. Half suggests being as rational as possible. So how do you navigate the tension between head and gut? The gut is what decides. The head is what rationalizes it afterwards. The gut is the ultimate decision maker. And what is the gut? Refined judgment, taste, aggregated. It could be aggregated through evolution, in your genes, your DNA, or it could be aggregated through your experiences and what you've thought through. The mind is good at solving new problems in the external world that have defined edges, beginnings and ends, objectives. But the mind is really bad at making hard decisions. When you have a hard decision to make, yes, you ruminate on it, you think through all the pros and cons, but then you sleep on it, you wait a couple of days, you wait until the gut answer appears with conviction. It feels right. When you're younger, it takes longer because you don't have as much experience. When you're older, it happens much faster. Therefore, old people are more set in their ways. They know what they want, they know what they don't want. It takes time to develop your gut instinct and judgment, but once you've developed them, don't trust anything else, because you can't go against your gut. It'll bite you in the end. Usually, in relationships that failed, you can look back and say, oh, actually, I knew it was going to fail because of this reason, but I kind of went ahead anyway because I wanted it to be this way. I wanted this person to be different than they are, or I wanted to get a different thing out of it than I knew I was going to get, but I just wanted it. Sometimes desire overrides your judgment, and it traps you into a pathway that chews up time. So let me bring this full circle. It's 2 a.m. You're lying in bed, eyes open, mind racing. But now you know what's actually happening. You're not anxious because of one problem. You're anxious because of the mountain of unresolved problems you've been burying for years. Therefore, every time you're anxious, you ask, why am I anxious this time? You sit with it, you identify it, you resolve it. You stop moving through life so quickly that you miss your own reactions. And you remind yourself, you're going to die. It's all going to zero. What's there to stress about? But here's the devastating truth most people never face. You get worried about dying and no longer being here, but you don't realize that so much of your life is already spent not being here. Every moment you're not present, you're dead to that moment. You might as well not exist. Therefore, wasted time isn't scrolling, it's not resting, it's not doing nothing. Wasted time is time when you are not present, when your mind is somewhere else, when you're anticipating the future, regretting the past, fearing something, wishing you were somewhere else. That's the waste. And if you spend your whole life like that, half present, mind somewhere else, you'll get to the end and realize you missed the only thing that mattered, the thing happening in front of you, right now. Because in each moment, it's the only thing that matters. What's happening in front of you literally has all the meaning in the world, but only if you're there for it. So here's the only question that matters. Are you going to keep spending your life not being here, or are you going to wake up and actually live it? Stop building castles on sand. Stop trying to find stability in transient things. Your body will change, your mind will change, the world will change. But the consciousness underneath, that's the real thing. That's what's been the same since you were born. That's what will be the same when you die. Everything else, it's just passing through. So observe your mind, resolve your stress, identify your anxiety, trust your gut, live on your own terms. And for the love of everything, be present. because the only thing you actually have is this moment, and it's gone instantly. Don't waste it being somewhere else. That's the only life you've got.